You're live. Hi, everyone. Today is February 22nd, and it's Friday, and tomorrow is our big snow picnic, and I should be outside preparing for that. But I'm going to read my 3 chapters, darn it. I would not expect me to be reading Saturday or Sunday. I hope to again on Monday. And so we're going to read 33, 34, and 35 stories. And remember, it's guilt in religion, Hillary's sins washed away. I know I couldn't wait to get to this one. So it starts with the scripture. It's Jeremiah 5, verses 1 through 2. Run ye to and fro through the streets of Jerusalem, and see now and know, and seek in the broad places thereof, if ye can find a man. If there be any that doeth justly, that seeketh truth, and I will pardon her. And though they say, As the Lord liveth, surely they swear falsely. Ooh. I don't know, Hillary. How many men out there would say spare her? She's really managed to get a lot of people mad at her in her lifetime. Yeah. Guilt and religion, Hillary's sins washed away. Only Jesus could do it. It's a depressing thing, all the guilt. Religion is so full of guilt. You walk around and it's like everything you do is wrong. Yeah, because you're thinking, you look wrong, you think wrong, your mind does this, your mind does that. You open your mouth, you're wrong. You breathe, you're wrong. That's religion. Original religion was based on guilt. How about that? How that came about, I'll never know. Why did anyone go along with the idea that you're no good no matter what you do? How did anyone ever come to believe this? But it's still there. You suffer for everything you do. You look at someone wrong, your intention is wrong. You're a rebel. That's wrong. I always say, I know I'm married, but that man's beautiful. And God is not going to strike me down just for looking at something beautiful he created. There's some beautiful men out there. Just like the guys say, there's some beautiful women out there. Oh, you look at someone wrong, your intention is wrong. You're a rebel, that's wrong. You're brusque, that's wrong. You have a confused heart, that's wrong. You must bring a burnt offering because you did this or you did that. I burnt my toast this morning. I didn't have toast. That's Michael. That was my burnt offering. Oh, did I? I'm whispering to my husband, I'm live. He was just informing me what he's doing. Okay, I forgot to say, we're reading Michael Savage's book, God, Faith, and Reason. And excuse the little interruption. I thought he was already off doing his outside things, which he is now going off to do. And that's good. And I thought, while he's gone, I'm going to do this. And when I'm done with this, I got to go and chop some more ice off of my driveway for tomorrow's picnic. And maybe if I'm feeling strong enough, I might shovel out an area for the putter pool tomorrow at the picnic. It's just all going to be great fun. Okay. I burnt my toast this morning. That was my burnt offering. That was Michael talking. You committed a sin because you were deceitful, had improper thoughts, used coercion, desecrated. That's why I walked away from religion. That's Michael talking. I didn't like the guilt. Maybe it works for some people. Oh, excuse me. You commit a sin in business dealings by eating and drinking. Just by eating and drinking, you commit a sin? By taking interest and usury? I don't do that. I don't own a bank. I'm not Wells Fargo. You commit a sin by having a haughty demeanor? Okay, that's all of Hollywood. Commit a sin by the prattle of your lips, by a glance of the eye with proud looks. Should you walk around like a schmuck? What does that mean? Proud looks. Is it a sin to put on a nice outfit and look nice? Or are you required to look like a loser? He's got a point there. Oh my goodness. What a blah, blah world if we all went around looking like schmucks. Casting off the yoke of heaven with impudence, passing judgment by a begrudging eye are also sins that you're supposed to apologize for. The word obduracy isn't even used in America anymore. No one even knows what the word means, including me. You're always throwing words at us. None of us know. Ask the average welfare recipient what obduracy means. They want to know how much is in it for them. Running to do evil, tale-bearing, swearing in vain, causeless hatred, embezzlement. Embezzlement? The whole Democratic Party would be out of business if it ever tried to atone for that sin. The whole representative swamp, they all embezzle. They start from day one. Oh my gosh, you got to read Peter Schweitzer's book. Is it called Embezzlement or is it? No. It's a good one. It's a good book. Means embezzlement. Even having a confused heart is a sin. Who doesn't have a confused heart? You're supposed to apologize for all of this. The day I lost my religion, I'm not going to tell you that story. The day I found my religion is another story. In many ways, the last presidential campaign became semi-religious. What is odd is that a woman as corrupt as Hillary Clinton could have been seen as the holier one. That's astounding. She's about as corrupt an individual as you can possibly get in a skirt. And I know a lot of people agree with that, and I am one of them. But I investigated her. But because of people like Anderson Stupor, you know who that is, her sins were suddenly washed away. Anderson Stupor is actually a van der Waal. There was no Arab Spring, no displacement of millions of people in the Middle East because of her policies. No Clinton cash. Extortion. That's the name of the book by Peter Schweitzer. Extortion. Not embezzlement. Extortion is an eye-opener. All of those books, you need to read them with a drink in your hand because you get kind of angry. It's a blood pressure raiser. So if you have blood pressure, don't read them. Nothing. She's cleaner than Trump, purer than him, more moral than him, just because of her chromosomes. Can you believe that? How the world turns? And look who made the decision for us. The media gurus of deceit. Oh, I think they could be charged with treason and sedition. All of those media people that technically have been under the control of the CIA and have been used as a tool to manipulate the voters. Let's move on. Again, he never says how her sins are forgiven or her sins are washed away. Only Jesus could do that. Trust me. On that one, only Jesus. And I have prayed for her, whatever it's worth. It involves her coming to her senses and repenting at some point, which that's up to her. How revolutionaries kill God. The fact of the matter is, I'm appealing to liberals out there, real liberals, to understand that liberalism can be a philosophy that's operational and accepting of other people. not a winner-take-all philosophy that crushes anyone who disagrees with them. That is fascism. That's what we keep trying to tell you. The Antifa's out there. What you're doing is fascism. What's happened now is that there is no true liberalism left in the political world. It seems to have dissolved. I don't know when, and I can't point a finger at who dissolved it. But the true liberals, they're gone. You can call them progs, as I do, because it's kind of descriptive term to describe the progressives today. It has a derogatory tone to it, which it should, because the progressives are not leading us forward. No, they are not. They are leading us backwards into slavery. I mean, we are semi-slaves already in this corporate country of ours with our UPC symbols called our social security numbers, because that's what I call them, folks. That's our UPC symbol. Woohoo! They're leading us backward into a Soviet era we would all regret, including the progs themselves would regret it. They have no forward vision. They cannot even perceive that they're being manipulated. Who will also feel the steel of the guillotine once it starts falling. Yeah, you eventually run out of other people's money. And believe me, the uber elite, the cabal, the globalist bankers, they are not going to share what they have. The French Revolution should have taught us one thing. The guillotine has an endless desire for blood. I remember watching those movies, and I used to think, how could they do that? How could they do that? Not just to the criminals, but to the women and children, everybody. They didn't want one corrupt drop of blood left in their country. That's how bad they had suffered under that rule. Because the rich did not have any compassion for their children, and they saw their children die. And sometimes their children didn't die quickly, like under the guillotine, but very slowly, painfully. It takes a lot to stir up that level of hate. Wow. I've tried to put politics aside. It's so painful. The bigger the liars, the more they scream for Trump's head, the more they are stealing from the government. The louder they scream for Trump's head, the more they're robbing from the treasury. The more they call you a deplorable or a KKK or a Nazi, as I said. I'm not a prophet, but I can say with some conviction that I know what I'm talking about regarding the phonies in the media. And I'll say it again, this country is moving back. And the only good thing is, if they move back far enough, they're moving towards God. He has a huge point there. And I like it. And I know many ways they extort money from us. I read the book Extortion, and I did get angry. And I read the book Aftershock, and I did get angry. And I'm happy to report I didn't even so much as put a picture of my representative up and start throwing darts at it. So I'm feeling kind of proud of myself. And it's a whole system. And I'm going to put my phone on mute because picnic inquirers are starting to ask, is there going to be a picnic even if it snows? Heck yeah. Yes. I didn't make all those cookies for nothing. They look lovely too. I'll show you one. We have some frosted graham crackers. Then we have our cookies. Oh, look, I made. And they're sandwiched together with frosting. Those are Spritz cookies. Let's see if I can find one of them. There's shamrocks in there too. February, March, Anyhow, yeah. When I read Extortion and Aftershock and all those books, and now when you see on the alternative news, Praying Medic, great place to go. X22 gives you political views and financial views, and it's sounding okay. There's going to be ups and downs, but it's going to be gradual, not a sudden abrupt change by the things they're doing. So they're doing okay things to help prevent the next bubble from popping. Because if that baby would have popped, we would have made the Depression look like nothing. It would have been so bad. So I think that's a good thing. So we're making some corrections. Don't expect to see that in a poll about God coming back. Don't expect to see it on CNN or MSNBC or Fox News. I'm telling you, because I have a better stethoscope on America's heartbeat than they do. Well, theirs is a manipulative heartbeat. What it really is and what they're telling you it is are two very different things. The country is turning back to faith because there is nowhere else to go. We had faith in Donald Trump, and I'm sorry to say many of us have lost our faith in government itself. And even Donald Trump, in order to keep the shock from being abrupt and boom, stock market fall, blah, 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 he has to somewhat play the game using the tools they used to use against us, only now he's using them for us if we would just wake up and realize that. There has been a palace coup. Trump is much like a figurehead now. He says things we want to hear, but then nothing happens, or worse, the reverse happens a day later. Now, when he does that, I think he's drawing attention to the problem, which the media has been blinding, holding from you. You can't see it. He's bringing it to the forefront. And sometimes he does it, brings it to the forefront as something like he's for it. And sometimes he brings it to the forefront as, wow, did you know this was going on? Always in a tweet. But it's very much purposeful tweeting. Many people feel lost and don't know which way to turn. So many people will go back to church, but then they'll have another problem in their hands. The church they grew up in is not the church they'll go back to today. You take a look at who is on the pulpit, and most of these Reformed temples, most of these liberal churches, they're going to sell you social activism rather than God. That's going to be a battle you're going to have to face on your own. I don't have the problem because I don't go to houses of worship. I don't like people lecturing me. If I need a ritual, I'll go for the ritual. I'm moved by rituals, whether they be in a church or a synagogue or on Christmas Eve. I like to go to the Grace Cathedral in San Francisco and listen to the service. Yeah, some of the, like I had said before, the veneration of the cross in the Catholic Church over the Easter season on Good Friday is so beautiful, so moving. If you don't shed a tear during that service, there's got to be something wrong with you. You're not paying attention. I was pleasantly surprised last year to see that they didn't infect the service with liberalism. I thought there would be a radical feminist coming out to preach politics, not God. But the service was traditional and moving. Oh, good, they didn't push abortion in that church. Yay! Murder. I sat there and felt the vibes of all the good people of the city through the years. And basically, I think God's people, the majority of them, are good, have good intentions, want to do good. And I live it. I pay almost no attention to the invigilers who have taken over the church. There we go again. Another word I don't know. It's INVEIGLERS. Invigilers who have taken over the church, the papacy, and the synagogues. Let God be the judge of all of that, not me. I'm one wandering man wandering on this lonely planet of ours, trying to find his way. Well, If the Invigilers are the Luciferian satanic paganists, then I know what Invigilers mean. And yeah, let God be the judge of that. Because I don't want to go backwards to paganism and start sacrificing aborted baby parts on the altar. So, our last story for today. And we're going to start it with Jeremiah 5, verse 7. And the story's name is An Unlikely Choice. Wherefore should I pardon thee? The children have forsaken me, and sworn by no gods. And when I had fed them to the full, they committed adultery. Sins against the body again. And it leads to sins against your whole family. And assembled themselves in troops at the harlots' houses. A lot of adultery. Many people believe that Trump winning this election by hook or by crook had God's hand involved in it. Does that mean Trump is a prophet? No. But God saved America at the last minute. He saved us as sure as I'm sitting here from this bunch of atheistic, anti-American vermin who have tried to destroy us from within. Yeah, and that anti-male thing. Please stop it. I have a son and I love him. I have a husband and I love him. I have a son-in-law and I love him. I have a grandson and I love him. You go to war against my sons. You go to war against me. And I'm not a man. I'm a woman. Sometimes God chooses odd people to do his bidding. He always does. He never chooses the qualified. He qualifies the chosen. And if you know your Bible, you know that. And when you look at Trump and you think that, you can see it. If you don't know your Bible, you don't know that. And you can't see that when you look at Trump. Look at the story of his choosing Moses. He said, Moses, I'm choosing you. You're the chosen one to lead your people. Moses replied, oh, come on. Don't pick me. That would be my reply. I don't want to do this. I can't do it. I stutter. I'm not good looking. I have a bad face. I'm sure I can find a pimple somewhere. My skin is no good. No, pick someone else, please. God said, that's why I'm choosing you. Because you're not perfect. How will they ever be able to figure it out that it's me, God, if I choose someone who's qualified? No. You're perfect. I'm choosing you, Moses. Oh, and he did that over and over again. You just look at him and you think deep. You look at David. Oh, yes. You look at them all and you think deep. When you consider that and then you look within yourself, you realize that you also can be chosen for things on this earth. No matter how humble you may be, you could be chosen to do something great. You may have already experienced that. I have. When I was going to turn 40, I was thinking, I would like to run a marathon like Oprah Winfrey did to celebrate turning 40. But I already had a bad knee. And I certainly couldn't marathon train like everybody else had. I'd have to have a completely different program. Could I do that? And I'm in church mulling this over, when a voice in my head said, listen. That brought me back to church in the pew, and I listened. And I listened to what the preacher was preaching, and the preacher was basically preaching, you can do this. And I listened, and I did it. And I raised over $3,000 for the Leukemia Society. I never thought I could do any of that. He doesn't choose the qualified. He qualifies the chosen. He chose me to raise $3,000 for the Leukemia Society, and he rewarded me with a trip to Alaska to run the Midnight Mayor's Marathon. And it was all a great experience. Don't be afraid to say yes when God chooses you. You see, the people who are chosen by God or by fate or by destiny to do wonderful things often don't even know they've been chosen to do them. I've told these stories before, and they resonate. They resonate in me at times. But I truly believe that America can be saved. I think we're seeing only the beginning of the salvation. I believe that once the rats are forced out of the White House, out of DC, once the rats are purged from the media, oh, please. You know what? When you look at some of those in alternative media, Praying Medic, Blessed to Teach, X22, SGT, Bond Robin, I think of people who are stuck in mainstream media, getting the same pablum spewed over almost word for word. And I feel sorry for them. I love my media so much better. I thought, wow, I got good quality stuff here. You know what? These people, they're hardly getting paid anything for what they do. And they do good work. Make no mistake about it. The vermin behind the rats that you see in the media, they're businessmen and businesswomen at the end of the day. Absolutely. How else do they make so much money? If they see that because of the left-wing fanaticism, their listening or viewership has collapsed, they're going to start reaching out to people on the other side. The 51% of Americans they've spat on for the last 10 years or longer. They've been spitting on you. They said, you're nobody, you're nothing, you're deplorable. You don't go to the movies, you don't watch television, you don't buy books, you don't read this and you don't read that. We read what we want to read. But they found out that you exist. And we have money. At some point, the boards of directors of the media giants are going to begin talking to you with respect. They're just going to be greedy and want our money. And then voices like mine will be heard across the land. You will start to hear voices like mine. They will start appearing in the most unexpected outlets you could ever imagine. The only reason is that the rats behind the scenes are business people, and all they look at is the bottom line. They finally awakened to the fact that they were spitting on 51% of America, laughing at you, mocking you, calling you every name under the sun. The deplorables, the despicables, the rubes, the breeders, clinging to our Bibles and our guns. But you are the backbone of America, and you have only just begun. You know, I keep hearing that immigrants are the backbone of America. Well, I did come from immigrants who came here legally, and they worked hard and they embraced America and they wanted to protect America, even if that meant protecting America from the homeland they came from. And if you are an immigrant and you think you're going to raise your Mexican flag in America and adore that instead of the American flag, you have come here with the wrong attitude. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about that. I'm getting off my soapbox. I keep hearing that they do the jobs that Americans won't do. Oh, heck no. I wash my own dishes. Then why are we bringing in 15-year-old girls with babies? Why are we bringing in Muslims with 6 children? Why is it that the immigrants have a much higher use of the welfare system than do the natives of this country? If you can answer that question, if you can answer those questions, you'll come to understand that virtual criminals have been running the nation. And what they're seeking are not workers. They're seeking voters, compliant voters will always vote the way they want them to. Controlled people. That's called slavery. They are become, another verse. Jeremiah 5, verse 8 through 9. I love that. Jeremiah. I love everything about Jeremiah. That's why my spontaneous abortion, also known as miscarriage, is up in heaven. I have decided he was a boy. It's always been in my head he's a boy, and I have named him Jeremiah, after Jeremiah, because I love Jeremiah in the Bible. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you, I loved you, I had a purpose for you. Yes, Jeremiah, even if your presence was only short and only in my womb, I felt it. My love for you is down here on the earth. You had an impact. They are become as well-fed horses, lusty stallions. Every one neigheth after his neighbor's wife. Shall I not punish for these things, saith the Lord? And shall not my soul be avenged on such a nation as this? Guilty. Yeah, if they're saying you're just looking at them and thinking, wow, they're good looking, that you're sinning, then everybody's a sinner. At least they have a lot of good company. And they're not just ordinary criminals who are doing it for personal gain, although there is a tremendous amount of personal gain in flooding the country with immigrants. Catholic Charities USA ripped $2.5 billion out of the tax base last year. Lutheran Family Services is another one. They are criminal organizations, in my opinion. Do you think that because the word Catholic is in front of the name, it can't be run by a bunch of thieves? I suggest you look at the directors' salaries. Ask yourself, why are we spending more than $2 billion on Catholic charities, and what have they given us? And it's not just that. It's the money that goes overseas in the guise of support and aid to these countries from taxpayer money, and how much actually is aided. Like, let's do the Red Cross, for example, in the Haiti catastrophe with the earthquake, and everybody gave to the Red Cross. By that time, I was already an enlightened one. I did not give to the Red Cross. And everybody gave to the Clinton Foundation. And the Clinton Foundation ended up stealing millions, if not billions, from the donations of that fund. And the Red Cross only built 6 houses. What did they raise? Like $6 trillion, and they only built 6 houses. Those must be some fantastic houses. Yeah, right. Your money's being laundered through foundations and charities. And you need to find out which ones are good and which ones are not so good. And you know what? Just help your neighbor, man. They're just next door. Save your money for helping your neighbor. Oh, wait a minute. I remember what they gave us. What that young fellow last year in Ohio, he was brought in with his 5 Muslim brethren from Somalia. Well, yeah, it was Catholic Charities that put him in Columbus, Ohio. Then why hasn't Catholic Charities been sued by the victims he ran over and knifed? The answer is that I'm not a lawyer. Let's return to Exodus in the Bible. If you can put the Jewish part aside for 1 minute, just listen to this. This is God speaking. He says, moreover, you shall provide out of all the people able men such as fear God, men of truth, hating unjust gain, and place such over them to be rulers of thousands, rulers of hundreds, rulers of 50s, and rulers of 10s. That's a beautiful statement. Able men such as fear God, men of truth, hating unjust gain. It's true. They hate truth. They get unjust gain. When the truth comes out, they have to hate it because it exposes their unjust gain. Isn't that what we want in a leader? Isn't that what we prayed for? That we'd get rid of the deceit in the White House? Do you say Obama's not corrupt? He didn't self-gain, did he? He received a $60 million book advance soon after leaving office and flew on private jets and enjoyed vacations on mega yachts owned by the very millionaire and billionaires he so often condemned while in office. He does speeches for many, many dollars that go into, I suppose, the Obama Foundation, where the money can be laundered again and again. You may say that's pretty compared to the rest of federal spending. I understand that. But what about the unjust gain of steering contracts? 12 people in the gangster solar panel business who have provided very low wattage for a very high price. How's that for corruption? Very true. Now, do I think that it's going to end under Trump? Absolutely not. I think it may get worse because that's how you bring a problem to the forefront. You allow it to get worse, and sometimes Trump does that. If the RNC gets its hands on the government again, and it looks as though they did, I'm not sure about that. They're going to roll in the gold like pigs roll in you know what. We know what Republican machine can be like. It's not I know a lot of people who are not machinists. They're like pigs in mud. Your land, strangers, devour it in your presence. Isaiah 1, verse 7. And we're off to our next one is going to be faith and freedom. And I believe that's 33, 34, 35. So that's going to be 36. Let's start with 36. I'm enjoying reading this book. Like I said, that guy is a very interesting man. Very, very interesting man. I like reading him. Michael Savage. God, faith, and reason. You know, not from any one religion, pushing this religion or that religion, just a common person like you or I, trying to sort through the muck and see what does it mean. So it's time to end the stream. We went way over what I wanted to, but I did get on my soapbox. I'm sorry if I offended anybody. And this is my stream for my personal freedom of speech. I can say what I want on my own stream, and if I offend you, I'm sorry. You can just not subscribe to my channel, I guess. Otherwise, give me a thumbs up or maybe leave me a comment. I do go back and look once in a while. All right, we're ending the stream. God bless you. I love you. Goodbye.